Benton Greene, and I'm Benton Greene.
Where are you from? Because you're not from Brooklyn, even though you're in Brooklyn right now.
Gosh, you want to put it out.
Are you from Brooklyn, or do you live?
You didn't really know that.
I know you are from Brooklyn, but do you claim Brooklyn?
I'm from East New York, Brooklyn originally, but I can't claim it like that because there's no accent. So people that are from East New York, they're from East New York. It's not accurate. From East New York, we moved to Maryland when I was maybe like 9 or 10. Lived there for 3 years, and then California for another like 10 or 15. So got like a Cali chill vibe out there.
You just came off of a project, 2 projects, right?
So I just got back from National Black Theater Festival doing a show, a beautiful show by Angelica Sherry called Berta Berta. 2-person play. The festival, first of all, I've never been to the festival before. It happens every other year. Yo, people need to make it out to this festival.
Really?
It really is. It's in North Carolina, in Winston-Salem. But it really is a special event because 75,000 black folks come to this festival when it comes out. To the point where sometimes the ATMs get empty out of cash.
Really?
Because black folks like to spend some money and we take over the city. So,
why we don't know about this?
Because it only happens every other year, but it's been going on. I think this was the, I want to say 30th maybe anniversary of it. So it has a long history. Woody King Jr. and a bunch of heads that have been going down there for years. And but it's just a festival where people from black folks from across the diaspora can come there and present their work. So there's shows all over the place. There's symposiums. There's like the producer workshops. There's like really for people, and then there's also things it's intergenerational. So there's elders that are there. There are little kids that are there. So it's a dope event. Just like to see that many black members of the community get together in one space at a time and really celebrate theater and celebrate art like that. It's really beautiful. Like, there's a whole there's a convention center down there actually named the Benton Convention Center. What's that going on?
We're gonna look that up. We're gonna look that up.
Like I'm gonna make something like that up. I think that's easily Googleable. We can do that live.
Right.
But that they had a whole marketplace there too. So all the vendors were there selling earrings and whatever else. And it's a really special event. But the play itself was really dope because it's a 2-person play that centers around a brother that works on the railroad and him coming back to his hometown to meet his sweetheart Berta. And it's based off of an old prison work song, Berta Berta, this prison work song. August Wilson had used it in one of his plays before too. But Angelica Sherry used that song as the basis for this play. And it's dope because she just talks about the black family, how the black family really got destroyed, how the prison industrial complex really started. So she's talking about the 1920s in this piece in Mississippi, but it goes into, you can't not listen to it and not hear 2019. It's really a beautiful piece.
Amazing.
And it's really the center of it's about black love. Like how does a black couple really survive with everything that's around them, all the obstacles around them. So,
nice.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah.
Is there a way we can see this, did they record this?
Sometimes when you see it, at least I feel like sometimes when you see it recorded, it's a little flat. Unless it's being recorded professionally, so that the sound and you're getting the full story, and you get to have close-ups or medium, so you're seeing the emotion like that. Otherwise, it gets a little two-dimensional. Something that's really deep or can be really thick gets really kind of flattened out. Anyway, all that to say is the show itself, though, it's one of those shows that's going to probably get done a lot because it's 2 people, it's 1 location. Producers are going to love to do this show. It's beautifully written. Like this woman is she's the sister. You're going to start seeing her name in TV shows everywhere soon. She's really quite exceptional. And it's being done down in Maryland, I know, in a few months down at Everyman Theater and in Baltimore.
You'll be doing it?
I don't know who's doing it yet. I don't have no idea. You know how that goes. Whatever. But either way, I'd go down and support it because the director Reginald Douglas is really dope. Everything about it. It's just one of those projects that you're like, I want to support this project wholeheartedly. Yeah.
She's a black woman.
She's a black woman.
Well, I'm just saying.
No, yeah, she's definitely a black woman.
Yeah.
A black woman, and also writing so super funny too. Writes these things, where she has that great timing where she can write this thick emotional drama, and then lay a joke in there that's been earned because the audience is so pent up. You're so tight because of what you're watching that this joke just comes out and it makes everyone in the audience, everyone needed it,
Right.
So when the audience, and then also to do that show with an primarily black audience was a blessing. Because I saw this show, they did it last year in West Virginia at the Contemporary American Theater Festival, and it was a white audience, straight up. It was me and 4 of the black folks that I knew in the audience. That was it the day I saw it, That's a very different event. White folks see it and they love it, and at the end they stand up and clap, but they experience it. They kind of experience it from a distance. Whereas when black folks see it, they're seeing themselves up there in a way that it was cathartic. There were people after the show, that were like, brothers that were like, I gotta go cry. I'm not even able to do it right now, but I gotta go cry because it was just so. Just like she just gets the depth of like Black relationships in a way, you know, that sometimes you don't really get to. I don't think we get to see ourselves holistically like that.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
I love that. So you enjoy that?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That really is my passion, though, to be able to be a storyteller where you connect with people, where they see themselves, when they leave the theater. I feel like theater is one of those things, or art in general should be something that you experience it, but then you have the opportunity to go out and like better yourself or to deepen your knowledge about it. I want to do some research about this or whatever it is, but it's a jumping off point. It's not the end result, you know. So I felt like this piece was really successful with that. Yeah.
I love that. So welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Salud. See, that's banging. See? Now, see, maybe if I made how talking to taste like this, I'd have it all the time, but I do not.
Benton, with you, it's been a little different as far as a guest because most of the actors I've interviewed have been, in film.
I've done more theater work than anything else, for sure. I'm steeped in that. That's my training, whatever. But I do films as well, and then TV so far has been the thing that has been the pay my mortgage job. I felt like I have not had TV roles where it's been, where I've had a full character in a way that I really got to develop my work that way in TV. I've not gotten to do that. And in films I have, but it's still, even then, I just don't do it as frequently because once you do a show, you're out for 2 months doing a show, so it takes up a lot of my time.
So, do you compare the two as far as time-wise? When just to let them know the time that it takes to prepare for a role for a stage and then for film.
They're really different mediums. They're extremely different mediums, and even in terms of down to how the storytelling is happening. But at the root of it, as an actor, I feel like the whole thing is: are you making an honest character? Are you creating someone that's honest, whether it be a comedy or a drama or whatever? So that's the same. That's always the same. I'm doing the same kind of research depending on what the role is. whether it be film or theater. But the difference in time is really that in the theater, typically you get a time period to figure this dude out. Where I'm testing him out, where I'll come in and say, oh, I think this is him today. From the research I've done and from what I'm feeling today, this is who this dude is today. And I can go through a full day of rehearsal, and if I want to, go home at night and be like, no, that's not it. And throw it away, or throw 60% of it away and then create something new. And you have these opportunities until the show is considered locked and set, And even then, you're finding new things because the audience is telling you about this character, night after night. So I've had experiences before. I've done a show maybe 70, 80 times.
What?
Yeah, think about it. If you do a few months run,
right.
You're doing 8 shows a week. So with 8 shows a week, you're doing a few months run or whatever, you're doing that show 70 to 80 times. I think the most I've ever gone is probably 100 performances of the show.
Yeah.
And
what?
Yeah, right? So you have to, in performance number 95, my motivation was, how do I still make this honest? When I know everything,
right.
You know the pathway. It's like it's been carved out already. So the beauty in that is, okay, there needs to be a new obstacle today. There needs to be a secret. I worked with this really dope director years ago, Hector Correa, and his biggest thing was every actor needs to carry a secret on stage. And he gave this great example that he was in a show where he's a big dude too, big Latino cat, and he's played this kid, but he's got this kid sensibility, so it makes sense. It's it totally makes sense. And he was saying that one of the main plot points in the play was that he was supposed to, his character, this kid, he's like I said, this big dude, was not supposed to eat candy, right? They're like, stop, put the candy down, it's a big part of the count. Put the candy down, they slap his hand, he's like, oh, whatever. And so he said that a lot of shows, he'd go out there, and whenever he would carry a piece of candy in his pocket. So whenever he gets scolded or whatever, he just rub it in his pocket. He'd have this mischievous smile on his face because they don't know what's happening,
right.
but they know that it's alive, because
right.
he's experiencing it. And that's what I think is dope in acting, is that it's not always about what the audience, about you telling a story exactly for the audience to consume the way you want them to consume it. It's that you create this world that's alive and full, and then the audience is going to interpret it with whatever baggage they're bringing into it. Oh, he thinks this because this way, or that look means this.
Right.
They don't need to know what I mean. That's their part of it. They can do whatever they want to do, but but it shows it's that interaction part that I really think is dope.
And
I'd love to do more. You know, the next couple of years, the focus is moving over to do more film. You know, to be able to do more film, and then also, like I said, to do more TV in the sense that it just makes my life easier. Like, straight up, that's what it's about.
Because of the commitment, time commitment.
The time commitment, the financial piece of it though too, where TV is that medium that actually compensates you for your time and for your talent.
Right.
Whereas, not always the case. Some other cases.
Well, to me, I know that I've always heard theater actors are better than TV actors, and I don't like when people say that.
Yeah, to be honest, I think that's the old dividing line. It's silly. It's silly. A good actor is a good actor. Now, granted, are there actors that don't translate through all the mediums? Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
There's certain things that you do in theater that are just way too big for TV, for camera.
Right.
That you have to learn how to make it smaller, make it more internal. Not say it's small, but make it alive still, but in a different way.
Uh-huh.
But I think I respect actors the most that can go across mediums.
Me too.
I'm a martial artist, and one of the main reasons why I love mixed martial arts and I watch it, so intensely is because of the kind of training that it takes. That you can get really good at one thing and then freak it and get good at something else and something else and something else. That takes a lot. And so same thing in acting. It's you're great on stage, but then you then go ahead and make it work on a screen that's this big, or make it work on a screen that's 20 feet wide, and make the same performance come through.
I love it. When did you start acting? And you had a good think, right? Think that. Yeah. When did you start acting, and then also was theater first, or talk about which one was first?
Sure. And the funny thing is, I think the first time I would say I had a performance that made me think I want to do something like this was maybe in second grade or something. And it was playing Chariots of Fire on a xylophone. I went to PS 273 East New York, and we had to play some instrument or whatever, and you practice with that. So we practice this thing, and in class it's like dang, 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 you do your little thing. It means nothing, right? And in class I remember meaning nothing. It's in class, nothing. And then we had a performance, and all our parents were there, and all the people were there, right? And before I had my little solo, I remember this kind of wave of nervousness, or euphoria, or something, right? And then it happened, and I had a solo, and after it happened, it was huge clap, huge round of applause, and instantly,
I like that.
It's a certain amount of validation, Okay, sure. I have a sister that's 3 years older. She's a genius. She's really, really smart. So I think I checked out a little bit when I was younger. I think I had really categorized in my mind she's the smart one, because all my teachers would be like, oh, your sister, oh, your sister, oh, your sister. So I think part of me, even at a very young age, was like, well, she's the smart one. I better get something else. I better have something going on, which is a whole different story. But so that was the first, initial kind of seed. And then as I got older, though, I was never the school theater guy, or not at all, because I didn't like the people that were in it. It was I don't want to be around these people. I'm with this. It seemed way too high energy for me. It's not really my personality. So that wasn't really my thing. But then when I got to high school, I went to high school in California, in the Bay Area, and there was we had a TV show in our high school, and that changed my life. Chester Farrell, I don't know if he's still alive, but he's out there. You changed my life.
Wow.
He really changed my life, because he had this show where he gave full autonomy to students to create the show, a weekly TV show. And it was hardcore. You learned everything. You learned how to produce, you learned how to direct. If you chose to do the technical, so I did more technical. I was on it as well, but I loved being behind the camera also, but then acting on the screen.
Okay. So did I explain that?
Right, so we had a TV show in high school that was an amazing experience, because you just had to do everything, and it was fearless, because we recorded it, and it wasn't live, but we weren't editing the content. So if a piece was supposed to be 2.5 minutes long, and you're improvising it and it went awry, that's what's going to be on the show that week.
Okay.
That was what was going to happen. So it was a 2-camera shoot, and we had, a third camera that would do graphics and everything. So for the time period, it was really advanced for high school. In college, I just was really excited to not be at home. My parents were really strict. So the bigger thing in college wasn't so much about my performance or performance background. It was more just about like freedom of just not being at home anymore. But it wasn't until I graduated that I went back to the Bay Area and started training in American Conservatory Theater. Theater's definitely the start, but to be honest with you, theater was always that thing where when I talked to anyone, they said, "Oh, you should do theater. It's a great experience. It's a great experience." So for the first even a couple of years, I was thinking, "Oh, that's why I'm doing this, and I'll just be doing TV and film, and it'll just be this or whatever." But then that love of live performance was something that's so hard. It's an addiction because you experience it. It happens that night, and at the end of the night, you went through this journey with all these people every single night. TV and film is a very different experience. I love that too, but it's a very different experience. It's not as immediate. And that immediacy was really attractive, really alluring.
Do you have a favorite?
There are a few plays. I worked for about 1.5 years at this theater company called Campo Santo, Intersection for the Arts in the Bay Area. And every show we did there was my favorite. This was a family of built on love and a lot of artistic trust. And so every project with them was really my favorite thing. Because it really did. I only have, it's me and my sister. I didn't come from a big family, so this became this extension, of a family that really meant a lot to me. It still means a lot to them. So it's more about this longevity of career, this longevity of kind of doing this for, multiple years. That's what I love. Yeah.
You're a teacher as well.
I am. I've been an educator for a long time. It means a lot too. But it's not like it definitely started off as like, oh, this would be a good day job because I can be free and I can do shows at night or whatever. But that quickly stopped. Like I really fell in love with it early. And so I've been in education as long as I've been a performer, literally as long as I've been a performer. And I just think the work is vital, like working with young people, having them work on craft, having them work, we do a class where it's a documentary film class, but specifically that they're learning how to interview people from outside of their world. So it's not about journalistic, it's not, when do you know, that's not it at all. It's more like, describe a time, tell me a story when. So you're learning about these people's histories, I've actually had years where I haven't been teaching as much, and I'll just perform, and I can't lie that I do start itching for it. I got to figure out a way to get back in the classroom somehow because performing, as much as I love it, there's also a selfish nature that has to kind of be there about like what your self-care regimen is, and do that in their time. And I was on a TV show years ago where my call time every morning, consistently for a year, my call time was like at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. It's like your day just starts off in a way that it's like you're moving, so it has to be about you. So my nights are about me, and when I'm teaching, it's not like that. When I'm teaching, I'm able to really like separate myself and hopefully see the experience through their eyes. What are they experiencing right now? What do they need right now? And so to be able to do that consistently, I think it makes me a better father, it makes me a better artist, it just makes me a better friend, all those things.
So for the 5 things, what did you want to leave?
Community. I wrote community because, again, in terms of longevity of career, I feel like that's the thing that I take away the most. That's the thing that means the most. That I work with someone that I've worked with 10 years ago or 15 years. I've worked with former students of mine in the last couple of years. And that's amazing. Like, this thing, we had this one relationship and then it becomes something else because we've been doing this for so long. So building community, developing it, really respecting it. Right. Respecting it as a network and that we're in a lineage of things. Like, that it's not just about you and your particular career path. That means, it means a lot.
Self-preservation?
People use the phrase self-care a lot, and it's kind of overused. So I was using self-preservation because this is an industry where people can chew you up, and we're seen as commodities. And I think that it's the artist's responsibility to not only be creating and not only developing your craft, not only constantly trying to like branch out and do new things, but also figuring out ways and building a system to preserve yourself. So that you're good, so you can be there for your family, you can be there for your friends, you can, and you can have longevity, So in terms of my self-care practices, like I have a strong meditation practice, I have a very deep, couple of different spiritualities, that I tap into, and then a lot of reading, a lot of self-reflection, and learning how to say no to things. Right. I've said no to more projects in the last 2 years
than I ever had, and I feel better about it. I feel like the work that I get to put out then becomes more full and more realized because I didn't try to do the 30 things.
Right.
I'm like, I'll just do these 10, try to do these 10 really well,
Right.
and let those other things, you know, someone else, that's someone else.
Again, that's for life too,
You
in
know?
general.
Yeah, it's like, you know.
Have fun.
Have fun. That's something, I mean, it seems so basic, but coming from my family, that was not, that's something I had to work at. Because my family is definitely, they're Caribbean, my dad's from Barbados, my mom's Jamaican, and it was like work. The have fun piece is like, yeah, sure, I guess, whatever. But in the meantime, we work all the time. So I always had that kind of career driven, or not career, not even career driven, just work mentality, you know, busy, doing something, doing all these things. So the idea of having fun is something that I have to actually write as a mantra, or like on my script. You look at any of my scripts or whatever from past days, those out of nowhere on page 35, it was like, have fun, you know.
Right,
you know, just to myself a reminder,
Yeah,
like, why are you
yeah,
doing this, you know?
yeah.
And reminding yourself constantly as an artist, like, why do you do this? Because the profession of it is, you know, it's called show business for a reason. You know, there's a business aspect that you need to be tuned into.
Right.
But the part of having fun is something that you can get lost. You know, while you work on set with somebody, especially TV. I've had experiences working on TV where the star of the show is asshole. You know what I mean? In a certain way, it's like, yo, why
Right.
you making how much money a week?
Right,
And
and
like
still
all these
miserable.
people catering to everything you need, and you still just gotta. Why are you like this?
Right.
But they forgot that at the root they got involved with this because they were supposed to have fun, and now the business part of it is the thing that they're focusing on. You know, whatever. And I think it's easy to do as you have more responsibility, as you have more notoriety. I think it's easy. I think that's easy to fall into that trap.
Right.
And so I constantly keep that as a mantra. Like, no, you're supposed to have fun. It's supposed to be something that, you know, don't lose your joy in the sense of like trying to find your pathway.
Travel.
That's the biggest gift I think my parents gave us. As kids, we traveled so much. We just
I
were
think that's
always out of the
important.
country, you know. I tried to do that for my son. We go everywhere together, you know, and his mom and me go everywhere as well. So he's been, you know, countries all over the world. You know, I had him in Ghana. I was doing a project in Ghana when he was 1. He learned to run in Ghana. He learned to, you know, I had been there the year before. So these women that I had met there that were like, they put him on, like strapped him on their back. Like,
Let's
got
go,
him.
let's go.
Like, go do your job. You know, I'm
Right,
shooting a
right.
documentary over there. They were like, we got him. And just
Aw.
having that, you know, having that experience of like, again, building community with
Right.
people or having, you know, working or whatever, but traveling and just meeting people from different cultures in a way that you realize the similarities in like how we're all really connected. If you can really see how we're all connected with each other, you'll automatically be a more empathetic person. You'll automatically really like want to
Agreed.
trust people.
Agreed.
But so to
Agreed.
do that, I think you need to experience different kinds of people and also be out of your comfort zone a lot.
Yeah.
I was in Thailand a couple years back, and I was in Chiang Mai. And like, I started walking. It was like I had nowhere to go. I was just walking, and I got real lost. Like I got fully lost. Like I was in the neighborhood. Like, what the hell? I had no idea. I made so many turns, and I saw this like there was this alleyway with all this dope graffiti artwork, right? And so I'm walking down this alleyway. It's late at night. It's dark. I shouldn't say it's late, but it's dark. No lights or whatever. And in the middle of this thing, I'm looking at all this stuff, whatever. And in the midst of it, it just hit me. I could see myself, and I was like, what kind of privilege do you have as a man that you can walk around at night, get fully lost, and not be worried about your safety at all? And that empathy piece is like, there are a lot of women that I know that you know that are friends of mine that couldn't have the same exact experience because they'd be thinking about their safety all the
Right,
time.
right.
So again, that empathy piece I think is built out of those experiences that you have and just kind of like being able to see yourself
Right.
in a different environment because you have to. Because
Right.
other people are seeing you in a different way.
Agreed.
You know, yeah.
And honesty.
It's an extension of that same mentality of like the honesty in the work. Keep going to, even if you're doing a comedy, doing a slapstick comedy, how can you find the honesty and humanity? What we end up doing, I think, for a career is really special in an environment where people are still focusing on making widgets. You know, like let's face it, like a lot of society is focusing on how do we commodify everything? How do we monetize everything?
Right.
At root, my job is to create a character that shows humanity to other people, to themselves. How can I be a mirror to other people in their own humanity? So if I focus on that and I keep digging into that and keep reinvesting in like, what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? I feel like the older I get, the more experience I get as an artist, I'll always become a more complete artist and person.
Thank you so much for dropping your gems. Our 5 things sign off.
I'm signing off.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, and thanks for the hot cocoa, bro. That was dope.
Come through, tell us for real. You hit it up.
Cheers.